Let's continue, children. Her shouts startled the white rabbit, who ran past her again. Startled means to become alarmed, frightened, or surprised. So, while she was shouting, the white rabbit crossed her again. Her shouts alarmed the white rabbit and saw her. Next, mistaking her for his maid, he ordered, "Go to my cottage and fetch my gloves and fan." Cottage means a small hut. Fetch means bring. So, children, the white rabbit mistook Alice for his maid. So he ordered to go to the cottage and get his gloves and fan. Next, Alice was confused by the rabbit's behavior. "Maybe I'll find something at the cottage to help me find my way out," she said hopefully. Though Alice was confused with the strange behavior of the rabbit, she thought hopefully that if she goes into the cottage, she could find a way to get out of the Wonderland. Next, as she was going out, she saw a piece of chocolate cake that was kept on a table by the doorway. Next to the cake was a note that read, "Eat me." So hopefully, as she was going out, she saw a piece of chocolate cake. The cake was kept on the table, which was near the doorway. Next to the cake, there was a slip on which was written, "Eat me." "I'm so hungry," Alice said as she ate the cake. Suddenly, she felt strange and realized, "Oh no, I've grown larger than this house," she cried. So, children, as Alice was hungry, she immediately ate the cake. As soon as she ate the cake, she became bigger than the house. So far, did you understand, children? Good. Let's continue. "Get out of my way. You're blocking the door," shouted the white rabbit. So, on seeing the large size of Alice, the white rabbit got annoyed and shouted at her to get out of his way as she was blocking the door. Next, Alice managed to pick up his fan. Immediately, she began to shrink, but little did she know it was a magical fan which made her small again. So when the white rabbit shouted at her, Alice wanted to get away from there. But she noticed the fan which the white rabbit wanted and picked it up. Alice did not know that it was a magical fan. So, as soon as she touched the fan, she shrunk and her size became small again. Next, "Oh no, I'll never get back to the right size." She went looking for help. Now Alice was really upset because she could not get back to her original size, and she went on investigating whether she could get any help. Next, soon she saw a green caterpillar dressed in a pink jacket. He was sitting on the top of a large mushroom smoking a bubble pipe. So Alice was trying to get some help. At that time, she saw a green caterpillar. This caterpillar wore a pink jacket and was sitting on the top of a large mushroom and smoking a bubble pipe. Next, one side makes you big, the other side makes you small, he said to Alice before slithering away. Slithering means to move by twisting or sliding. So the green caterpillar, before leaving, gave a hint to Alice. He said, "One side makes you big, the other side makes you small." Next, "One side of what?" Alice called after him. Now Alice could not understand what the mushroom meant. So she called him and asked, "One side of what?" Next, "The mushroom, silly," he answered. So for this, the green caterpillar called her silly and said it was the mushroom. Next, Alice ate a piece of mushroom. "Thank goodness, I'm growing," she cried. "But which way do I go?" So Alice ate a piece of mushroom and she started to grow. But then she did not know which way to go. So far, did you understand, children? Good. Let's continue, children. That path leads to the Mad Hatter. The other way leads to Lee March Hare, said a voice. So when Alice did not know which way to go, she heard a voice that said, one path leads to Mad Hatter and the other path leads to Lee March Hare. Next, Alice turned to find a smiling Cheshire cat in a tree. I'll see you later at the Queen's croquet game, he said before disappearing. So Alice turned around to see from where the voice was coming. When she turned around, she saw a smiling Cheshire cat on a tree. The Cheshire cat informed her that it will meet Alice in the Queen's croquet game and then disappeared. Next, there was a table set out under a tree in front of the house, and the March Hare and the Hatter were having tea at it. So now Alice reached a house. In front of the house there was a table which was set out under a tree. March Hare and Hatter were having tea at it. Next, a dormouse was sitting between them, fast asleep, and the other two were using it as a cushion, resting their elbows on it and talking over its head. So in between March Hare and Mad Hatter, a dormouse was sitting. This dormouse was fast asleep, and so March Hare and Mad Hatter rested their elbows on it and were talking. They used the dormouse like a cushion. Next, very uncomfortable for the dormouse, thought Alice. Only as it's asleep, I suppose it doesn't mind. So when March Hare and Mad Hatter used the dormouse as a cushion, Alice felt that the dormouse did not find it uncomfortable only because it was fast asleep. Next, the table was a large one, but the three were all crowded together at one corner of it. So, though the table was quite big, the three, that is March Hare, Mad Hatter, and the dormouse, were all crowded together at one corner of it. Next, no room, no room, they cried out when they saw Alice coming. So, as soon as they saw Alice coming, they shouted that there is no room, which means they had no place there at the table. They actually wanted to avoid Alice coming and sitting with them. So far, did you understand, children? Good. Let's continue, children. There's plenty of room, said Alice indignantly, and sat down in a large armchair at one end of the table. Indignantly means expressing anger of something unjust. So Alice felt that it was unjust of March Hare and Mad Hatter to say that there was no seat at the table for her. So Alice angrily said, "There's plenty of room," and sat in a large armchair at one end of the table. Next, "Have some wine," the March Hare said in an encouraging tone. So as soon as Alice sat on the chair, March Hare, with a very pleasing tone, asked her to have some wine. Next, Alice looked all round the table, but there was nothing on it but tea. "I don't see any wine," she remarked. So Alice looked all around the table. She could not find any wine, and there was only tea on it. Next, "There isn't any," said the March Hare. So March Hare said, "Of course there is no wine." Let's continue, children. "Then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it," said Alice angrily. Civil here refers to decency. So Alice got very angry and said it was very indecent of March Hare to offer her wine when there was really no wine on the table. Next, "It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited," said the March Hare. So March Hare immediately countered Alice and said that it was also indecent of Alice to sit down at the table when she was not invited. Next, "I didn't know it was your table," said Alice. It's late for a great many more than 3. So for this Alice said that she did not know it was March Hare's table, and moreover, since the table was big and that it could accommodate more than 3 people, she came and sat there. Next, "You may stay if you answer my riddle," shouted the Mad Hatter. Children, so far the conversation was only between Alice and March Hare. Seeing the argument between Alice and March Hare, Mad Hatter, who was at the table, also wanted to tease Alice. So as though he was going to give a solution for the problem, he interrupted and told Alice that she could stay there if she could answer his riddle. Next, "Why is a raven like a writing desk?" Alice felt dreadfully puzzled. So the riddle of Mad Hatter was, why is a raven like a writing desk? Raven is a bird which belongs to the crow family. Dreadful means fearful. So on hearing the riddle of Mad Hatter, Alice was very frightened and she got confused. Next, the Hatter's riddle seemed to have no sort of meaning in it, and yet it was certainly English. So Mad Hatter's riddle had no sense in it, though it was asked in English. Next, "I don't quite understand you," she said as politely as she could. So Alice very politely told that she couldn't understand the riddle. Next, "Have you guessed the riddle yet?" the Hatter said. So Hatter asked her whether she found out the answer for the riddle. Next, "No, I give up," Alice replied. "What's the answer?" "I haven't the slightest idea," said the Hatter. So Alice said that she would give up because she doesn't know the answer. And she further asked Hatter what was the answer for the riddle. For this, Hatter told Alice that she too didn't know the answer for the riddle. Next, "Nor I," said March Hare. And adding to all the drama, March Hare also said that it too didn't know the answer. Next, Alice sighed wearily. Sighed means expressing tiredness. Wearily means extreme tiredness. So now Alice was really fed up and tired of listening to such riddles. So far, did you understand, children? Good. Children, the remaining part of the lesson will be continued in the next session. So continue watching.